podcast. So here we go. Hello, and for the second time, welcome back to episode 73. You are Trapped in History with me and my friend Charles North the Sixth. Charles, we already started recording a couple of minutes there, and I realized it's been so long since I've been on StreamYard, I forgot to hit record. But anyways, for seemingly the first time for our listeners, thank you for coming back again. It's great to have you.
Well, thanks for having me on, Robbie. I greatly appreciate the invite coming back on and just talking history and talking my travels and just talking one-on-one and everybody listening and involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I love to hear about those travels. I know our listeners will as well, and so are yours. These candid kind of interviews are great for this. If any of you, if this is your first time meeting Charles North the Sixth, he was on a previous episode with me on episode 56, I believe, and that was way back in October 28th, right there before Halloween. And Charles, I'm sure you've gone through a ton of adventures and different journeys and travels, some ebbs and flows, ups and downs, hopefully more ups than downs. And just kind of jumping right into this, I know me and you we're both fathers, and we don't have a long episode to be able to do tonight. But I would love to get into could you share with us just some of your journeys, and we'll kind of base our conversation off of that since October 28th, way back before even Christmas.
So let's see, October 28th, we had just literally was prepping my family and I to go to Saratoga the next week. And we finally got to Saratoga Thursday that next week on the 5th or the 6th. So we went up, saw the town, got to see the town, and I was planning on doing the whole Saratoga. We were going to go into Vermont. We were going to get Bennington, just that whole campaign as much as I could in that vicinity. But sadly, that first night into the first day on Friday, my daughter was sick. She caught the flu. We didn't know about it, but we had to go to ER, and then I was able to record one video in that time, the Freeman's Farm. And we then made the decision the next day when she was feeling better just to come home, cut it short, because we were 5 hours away. So first trip wasn't so good, memorable. But the good news is we are planning to go back at the end of June to continue it. So after that, we've been to not much after that. But then I did a lot of local battlefields. I did places such as Paoli. I did Cooch's Bridge for the first time in Delaware. The only action in the Revolutionary War that took place in Delaware. I wanted to cover that. I also did, where else? Princeton, or that was earlier. A lot has happened since October, so I apologize if I seem like maybe I might be backtracking a little bit.
No, it's okay. I should have had you on way before that. I got kind of down the rabbit hole of AP European history topics, and I took a break from just kind of any guest. So you're really the beginning of bringing a lot of the guests back again. So I just appreciate you're trying to remember this from the top of your head too on your trips. And
because we went to our next big trip was Frederick right after New Year's. So I did a lot of stuff in the area, New Jersey, Pennsylvania for a little bit, and I did some historical spots here and there. And then our big trip was in Frederick. I had the Battle of Monocacy with Ranger Matt, who guest appeared on my Monocacy battlefield video with the 14th New Jersey. And then I had Antietam and South Mountain, where I followed the 89th New York, my great some odd grandfather's regiment during the Civil War. We did Harper's Ferry, and then that was about it. And with these trips I go on, it's a family thing, so it's a whole family affair. I do
That's
a lot of
awesome.
my footage is done with my family, so they're either off somewhere or at the hotel because I get there really early, and then we spend the rest of the day together doing family things. Um, and then the next biggest thing we did was Yorktown and Williamsburg. So in between there, I did more focus on New Jersey battlefields. Actually, a lot of battlefields in New Jersey. I didn't realize it. I was using Mark Diano's book of uh, Guide to New Jersey's Revolutionary War Trails for history
Mhm.
buff families. I think I got the name wrong, but most of my uh, followers and subscribers get the gist. Um, I went to Haddonfield, and the historian. When Haddonfield for me is a stone throw away. I live right near Cherry Hill in New Jersey,
Mhm.
and Haddonfield's like the next town over. So I went to Haddonfield for the Indian King's Tavern, and the historian there actually told me that book is a little um, not necessarily peer reviewed. So
Mm.
let's see, the book said that there's a tunnel that runs between the tavern and the jail. There isn't. So
Oh, okay.
stuff like that was a little debunked, kind of like
Yeah.
MythBusters. So
Yeah.
I did a
David,
lot of them.
sometimes you don't know until you go to these places. And I think
Yeah,
that's the benefit of going to these places and talking to those local historians that are there.
exactly. And I went to Chestnut Neck. That was fun. I ran into a woman who thought I was somebody else. She came up on me right when I was getting ready to record, uh, and she asked me like, "Who am I? What am I doing there?" And it was a public, a public memorial, public monument, and a bit of a park. That way, it's preserved in history. Not much of that battlefield at all is preserved. Not even that fortification that was there. And we got to talk, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you should go here, 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 and talk to such and such." I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it." I kept that in my back pocket, kind of for a possible next time. Then I did some reenacting. Actually, I did some reenacting in that
Hey,
time.
great.
Yeah, the Jersey Greys. My buddy Paul got me into it. And this was before New Year's, so I'm sorry if I skip back and forth.
Oh, no, no, it's okay.
So I did some reenacting. I acted a little bit as um, a night guard, pretty much on duty, and I got killed in a massacre that was
Oh,
recorded
man.
for a historical society, and then we reenacted Battle of Cedar Creek or Cedar Creek Bridge or something of the sort. And I made a video on that while I was there, but I was in civilian normal garb, not
Mhm.
18th century Revolutionary War, acting like I'm firing a musket kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I did Washington's Crossing that next week where it snowed. Gary Edelman's Facebook page shared the Third New Jersey Grays. I wasn't there, but I drove to it when it was beautiful along the Delaware River.
Mhm.
I love the snow. I always say I love the cold. I always am for it. It was fun driving, even though my car was going sideways up to get there. But
It added
the
even more excitement to the experience, right?
yeah, so it was in true fashion for the Battle of Princeton, uh, in Washington's Crossing, and I was there, and I was all done up in garb, everything like that, and my feet were freezing because I'm using my buddy Paul's gear. And these shoes, I feel like they're just like squeezing in my feet. And I'm eating 18th century style cooking at the same time, like just bread and cheese and an apple and like whatever you name it, just because. And I got to kind of experience the life of a soldier. So it gave me a better understanding even for my future videos. So I'm glad I did that, and I do plan on doing more reenacting. The only thing is I have to shave the beard, so I look really weird. So I haven't shaved since then, kind of. Um, but that was a fun experience. And I did Washington's Crossing video. And then did the New Jersey stuff, did Battle of Chestnut Neck, did Pulaski Massacre, which I believe what I filmed for back the first time when I reenacted. I did that coverage of the massacre down in like Barnegat area, or not Barnegat, not even that, just down there by Chestnut Neck near the shore. And we planned for Williamsburg because my wife and I, we want to go to Williamsburg. And I was like, hey, I could do Williamsburg. I could do Civil War Williamsburg. I could do Yorktown, Revolutionary and Civil War. And my wife gave me the idea to do Jamestown. So I was like, that's 5 right there.
Yeah.
And we went last week. Pretty much we're on our way home this time, Tuesday last week. And it was a fun trip.
I imagine, yeah.
I got to meet up with Charlie Watts from History with Waffles. He met me down at Yorktown for the Revolutionary War video. He gave me a lot of advice. Charlie's a great guy. I've been talking to him as much as I've talked to you, and as my videos have matured and gotten better and improved, he's always been wanting to give me advice. So it was great for him to be able to lend his time for me to meet up and do a quick bit for my Yorktown video, which I hope everybody enjoys. I just got done editing it. It's going to go up April 19th, which is a Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I've been looking forward to your Yorktown.
Yeah, it's I just did all the editing. It's going to be slightly over an hour because I did that much filming and editing, and I just walked around the battlefield. I did so much walking, and
yeah, I can't imagine that. So that's after editing. It'll be an hour. So you got to think about all the footage you had to go through before that.
Oh no, I purposely I have to purposely preserve my footage. I can't just make random B-rolls. I can't.
That would be.
I'm using my sister's iPhone that she gave me. So, and when I went back to Yorktown on Monday of last week, I had a funny incident. So for Christmas, my wife got me a tripod for my phone, so I don't have to hold the book and my gimbal at the same time. It was a great advancement on myself. And well, this tripod is supposed to be windproof, and a lot of times, like you see in some of my videos, my hat blows over. My phone and the tripod kept blowing over. And when I was doing the last bit of footage for my Yorktown video for the Civil War, I had it over in a spot, and I was just underneath a tree, and I was filming, and it kept falling over because of how windy it was. And it was hitting the grass. It was fine, stuff like that. I just picked it up, dusted it off a little bit, hit stop, hit record, walked back to my spot, and did it over and over and over again a couple times. And then last time I got really frustrated, and I sat it on one of the, like a man cover kind of looking things. I figured maybe instead of it being on the grass, it should be on the man cover because it's more sturdy, or at least flat. I get to the spot, I start reading, and it doesn't go well almost immediately. I sit there, I start reading, I have the footage of it. I don't know if I'm going to put it in for the editing of the video, but maybe I'll have it briefly for like a spoof.
Yeah, like at the very end or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Get a blooper reel.
And it just, the wind takes it. I felt it. It just took it. It went whoop. And I had a little curse right there at the end. I said it. I cursed a little bit right as it was going over. I was like, "Oh!" And it, boom! And the thing is, I'm wearing a mic, and you can still hear it hit. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, crap, that's the one that broke the darn screen. Like, really. So I picked it up, I looked at it, and it was cracked. Now, luckily, I had a screen protector on it, but I sent you the image if you want to put it up.
Yeah, I'll put it right up. Yeah.
That's what it looked like. So I had that Monday, and then I had to deal with that the rest of the trip, recording and everything. Which it luckily the screen did its job, which is grateful because I don't know if I could even afford a brand new iPhone screen. So the screen protector did its job. I ordered a brand new case and a brand new screen that night to come delivered home. I babied that phone the rest of my trip, and then I had to set up. You would have laughed. Anybody who walking by would have laughed. Would have seen the stack of books I had all on that tripod to finish up filming, just to hold it down.
Anything you could just to kind of reinforce the foundation of it.
Yeah, and what was sad was
That's
if I
great.
hadn't moved it, it just would have kept blowing over and just hitting the grass, and it would have been fine. But it had to be that time I set it up, and it was right near the road where there's pebbles and everything, and
Yeah,
that's what it fell on. And I was so frustrated. It wasn't even funny. I texted my wife. I was like, "This darn thing cracked. I can't believe I was stupid enough to do it."
it's one of those times where the universe teaches you a lesson, right? You're
Yeah,
like, oh my
it was
god.
one of those times. So, like, I know everybody comments sometimes when my hat goes flying off, and they say, "Oh, get me a chin strap," but I just throw it back on. I laugh because,
Yeah. Throw it back on.
but with the phone, oof. For me, I'm not tech savvy enough, so everything's on it with this iPhone. Like all of my videos are on this, so I have to really take good care of it. So I filmed for Jamestown the next day. I did it fairly quick, considering I was going into it not necessarily fully knowing about Jamestown. I read about Jamestown in the book I had, Jamestown: The Truth Unburied or Uncovered by William Kelso. And the Williamstown book I had, it had like over 200 pages. And I read that probably in 3 days just to prepare myself. Like I knew a good amount about Williamsburg, but like so I can find a story and an angle to talk about, I wanted to read the book by Michael Cecere, Williamsburg at War during the Revolutionary War. So I did that. And then we get to one day off on Wednesday last week, and then the Gettysburg Film Festival. Now, with the Gettysburg Film Festival, my wife and I, we were like on the fence. We didn't know, do we stay the night? Do I just go by myself? Does my wife come? We ultimately decided it'll just be me by myself. So I got up at 4:00 in the morning, left by like maybe 4:15, 4:30. And while I was getting to Gettysburg, I was listening to your podcast that you sent me, which was very interesting. I think it was episode 70 I was listening to.
Yeah.
And I was listening to that, and I listened to a couple other things. And as I had the GPS up, I'm familiar with this drive, but I have no coffee in me at all. So you could already see something happened along the way.
I think I remember you telling me that too. I'm pretty sure when you told me I'm listening to your episode, also I've had zero coffee. I took that as he's pretty sleepy. He probably should not be driving right now.
Yeah, but it was great to get me thinking, to get my brain going, get it active, so I can really bring it this day, because it was only a 1 day thing, so I was really trying to get into it. So I come up on the exit and I take it. I'm like, all right, here we go. Take the exit. I'm off of it. And I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't recognize that Advanced Auto Parts. I don't recognize this at all. I look at the time on my GPS, and it went from 6:50 in the morning to 7:15 in the morning. I'm like, where the heck did I get 25 minutes from? Turns out I was on the Baltimore Pike in Carlisle. So I'm going up and down these 2-lane roads on these hills, and tractor trailers are coming at me, and I'm in my little Scion, and I'm just thinking to myself, I hope to God one of these tractor trailers don't come over in my lane. I wasn't necessarily scared, but I was like, this is a different experience.
You
But
didn't need the coffee at that point. You just gripped the steering wheel. So
yeah, I was.
it's your
And
fear,
mind
your
you,
adrenaline.
yeah, and mind you, it was mist. It was misting out, so it was
Oh,
foggy.
yeah.
So when you see the headlights come over the horizon of a hill, you're just like, please stay on that side.
Yeah, yeah. I
Please
hope to
stay on
God
that
that signal
side.
soon.
So
I just picture you eventually riding in the shoulder, but then again, there's probably no shoulder on
no,
that 2-lane road.
there was not.
Just
This
a
is country
cliff.
road in Pennsylvania. There was no shoulder. And then maybe if it was in New York, but not out there. And so I finally get to Gettysburg. I get coffee. And I don't have any time to kill. I just get my coffee, gear up, make sure I have my battery pack with me, and set off. I was like, all right, first day's battle. I already had all my books ready. So like for when I prepare for going on a trip, I get all my books and I check second time books where I get my books from with the bookstore I'm with, I partner with. And I'm like, hey, do you guys have Gettysburg books? Which they always do. And I'm like, all right, do you guys have this? I go and I peruse. I'm like, all right, this would be good. This would be good. This would be good. And I get my books. So I make the deal with them. Like, hey, yeah, I'll get these stamped. I'll get them whatever, this and that. But I got some extra books from them to continue on with the story here. So I had them all set them up, stacked. And I just start doing it the first day. I drive out on McPherson Ridge, go to Reynolds Woods, go out to the cut through the railroad cut, go out to Eternal Light, and then I just make my way over to Barlow's Knoll because I'm like, you know what? Let me talk about Barlow's Knoll. I don't think anyone's really ever talked about Barlow's Knoll during Gettysburg. I know I haven't. I know I've driven to it. And I remember trying to get there. I messed up trying to get there because I'm trying to follow the map and my GPS. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So I kept going the wrong way. And then I find out that it's right by the Adams County Historical Society building. So I finally get there. I film everything. And I'm done in, an hour and a half, 2 hours of just day one. And so it's like 9:15. Maybe even almost 10 o'clock. I'm like, wow, I am ahead of the game here. I am really ahead of this game. Now, I got Charlie's information, so him and I can stay in contact a lot better than how we normally stay in contact. So I let him know I was in town, and he texted me, hey, I'll be available at whatever, because he's going to pop in another video for me like he did for Yorktown. So day 2 is where I started focusing on New Jersey Regiment of the 8th New Jersey because I wanted to do something for New Jersey since I'm from there. So I gave Charlie an idea. He popped in and said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I started doing all my recording, and then I met him at the 8th New Jersey Monument pretty much. We got to talk and did everything, shared some stories, talked about our schedule. He was in the Gettysburg Film Festival itself. I was outside of it. I never got any tickets because of, as I said, my wife and I, we were on the fence about going, and it wouldn't have been fair if I did a couple other things without her. So we did I didn't get a ticket. So I was just hell bent on just doing all my videos that day. So Charlie came, did his bit, then did what he had to do with his schedule. And I kept going about doing with my 8th New Jersey. And when I was doing that, Charlie gave me some advice before he left about maybe an angle to take. So I took it and I snagged it and I went right with it. Before I knew it, I was doing almost every New Jersey regiment at Gettysburg, and as time went, my phone was dying and draining. I was using my phone charger brick to. I had a portable brick with me to help charge it faster, so that was draining, and it was misting out. My shoes are waterlogged because I'm wearing. I don't wear the normal boots. I just wear my normal outfits, and by the time I know it, it's what, 3 o'clock. I'm like 4 or 5 hours into day 2 when it took me 2 hours to do day 1. Because there's the 8th New Jersey I found out, the 7th New Jersey, the 6th New Jersey, the 5th New Jersey, the 11th New Jersey, all for day 1. The 12th New Jersey was day 2. The 12th New Jersey was day 2, but they were also the only ones that fought at day 3. But the funny thing is earlier in the day, Charlie hooked me up with Mike Lentz from Addressing Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
And he's studying to be a battlefield tour guide at Gettysburg. And we met at a time, and he just immersed me into the 8th New Jersey's time at the wheat field, because that's where the 8th New Jersey fought.
Yeah. I thought it's a powerful moment too. I've been there. The last time I was there was 11, so it's been a long, long time ago. But I remember vividly the wheat field part of the tour. Like that had to be a powerful background to find out.
It was, because I know the wheat field. I know the carnage that took there. And last year when I went to Gettysburg, I covered a bit of the wheat field, and I had a different angle and approach to it compared to I did this time, clearly. And this time I felt really emboldened, I would say, towards these New Jersey regiments, especially, the ones that valiantly fought. And I got a little frustrated because the angle I was taking frustrated me. I was taking on like why the Jersey regiments didn't receive any kind of merit or any kind of award, such as the Medal of Honor, but yet you had regiments from like the New York, Maine, stuff like that, all received them. So it had me thinking, and I got upset. And like most of the stuff you see me read and upcoming with Gettysburg with this day 2, my reaction is genuine. I did not plan any of that, and I think that actually would really help with telling the story, because I wanted to keep it. I was not planning on taking it that far. I wanted to just be like, if New Jersey was here, did this, did this, did this. And then I got exposed to the 6th, the 5th, the 7th, the 11th, the 12th. I was like, what? Like, I knew that there were New Jersey regiments here. I read a book on New Jersey regiments, but I just wanted to do the 8th. I was whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. But Mike Lentz did a great job. I had so much fun and joy watching him and listening to him and taking in what he was giving me with the information and telling the story of the 8th. Now, the great thing too was I got to share that moment with Readout Productions, aka his name's Spencer, and we finally got to meet as well. So him and I were with Mike Lentz, and he was doing his own take. I was doing my own take, and we both got to sit there and just enjoy Mike telling the story of the wheat field and 8th New Jersey and the 115th Pennsylvania and the 16th or 17th Maine and stuff like that were all there in that bit fighting against the Georgians. And by the time before I knew it, it was late. and he's like, "Hey, do you want me to go and talk about the 12th New Jersey for you?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I was
I'm not
like,
gonna turn that down.
dude, you're doing me the favor, but yeah, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
great. So we picked his brain a little bit
Mhm.
at the 12th New Jersey Monument, the Buck and Ball Regiment, and I got a little bit of him talking about the 12th New Jersey for day 3, and then I met up with Charlie on accident because I had to go back and film my introduction for Charlie and Mike to come on the episode before I showed it. So I hadn't filmed it yet because that's how much time it had taken from me before I'd be like, yeah, History with Waffles and Mike Lentz are going to be on, whatever. I hadn't filmed that yet, and then I had to film the outro ending to day 2. And then I went back to the 12th New Jersey and the copse of trees and everything for day 3 and just filmed all of day 3. And meanwhile, my phone is still dying on me.
So you got to get some battery anxiety going on
I
during
was
this.
because I couldn't get it back up to like no more than 40% every time because it would just charge and I drive because the way you have to drive Gettysburg, you have to actually follow the road. You have to take it like if you
Yeah, that's
miss
what I
something.
remember. I thought you have to follow like a certain sort of path
Yeah, and
as
sometimes
you're
there's only one
going.
ways. So
Yeah, yeah,
if you miss it, you can't turn around. You got to
yeah.
do it again. So when we went to the 12th New Jersey, I had to drive all the way back around and get back around to the monuments and everything, and it was so much fun doing that. While it was misting and it was not necessarily the best weather, but it was a lot better than the humidity and the heat that the soldiers had to face. So that's how
Yeah,
I
yeah.
that's how I interpreted it. Like could be worse. It could be hot. I'm under fire. so
That's a good way to look at it.
So, and that's how I always look at battlefields when I go there. I'm like, even when I'm doing my cooking videos, I took up on those too. I did more of those in that time.
Mhm.
But but when I finished everything about probably about 6:30. I was able to finally be done. My phone was damn near dead. Uh, both my phones were damn near dead because I was using GPS the entire time because I didn't want to miss anything. I met up with Charlie one more time. We spoke and then uh, went our separate ways pretty much. Uh, and I went to the Adams County Historical Society building because there was a book signing going on at at the building. Chris Mikowski from the American Battlefield Trust was going to be there. Susan Eisenhower and Jeff Sherraw were all doing book signings at 7:30. So I had a few books from Second Time Books that I took with me of Jeff Sherraw's to get signed. I brought my own Jeff Sherraw book.
Yeah, Jeff's an amazing author.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I've
he
read
really
several of his
is.
books.
And my first book I ever bought of his was the Hallowed Grounds. I bought that when I was in Old
Mm.
Fort Jackson in Savannah. Funny enough, and I created a checklist and I got in and I heard rumors that there was other people there still. So I was at the front desk. I was like, "Hey, is there a Chris Mikowski book here, and is there a Susan Eisenhower book here?" I already had my Jeff Straw books. I had to park in the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
parking lot by where the school is and walk across the field. Uh, I get there, I'm like, "Hey," and I grabbed an American Battlefield Trust that uh, Chris Mikowski and Gary Edelman wrote together about the cost of war, and I got Susan Eisenhower books, How Ike Led. And I got in line pretty much and said, they're like, "Oh yeah, you guys, just wait here. You still got like another 15 minutes or so because it's about 7:15 or such before because they were upstairs doing a lecture or something like that, a panel."
Mhm.
So I was like, "All right, cool." And I thought to myself, I'm like, "Hey," and I asked the lady at the desk, I'm like, "Gary Edelman's still here?" And they're like, "I think so. Yeah, I think Gary's still here. Whatever." I thought to myself, "Oh, that'd be really cool if I could meet him."
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be
You
awesome
know?
to have that.
And funny enough, right down the hallway, I spotted him. I was like, "Oh, that can't be Gary." That would speaking it to the universe. I'm like,
Yeah.
sure enough, he walked right up, and I was like, "Hi, Gary." He goes, "Hey, do I know you?" I was like, "Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm in your comments a
I
lot."
hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Because he's got his Facebook page. So like we were chatting
Oh
on,
yeah.
I told him thank you for inspiring me because he's one of my inspirations
Sure.
for doing this channel. And I asked him if he could sign my book, and then he obliged. He as energetic as he is on screen, he's
Yeah,
energetic.
yeah. Just I wonder if he was just as energetic in
Yeah,
person
he
as it
is.
seems.
Like
He's awesome. Yeah.
it was great. He just kind of like has that excitement about him, enthusiasm about himself. So, and then I took a picture with him, and I was like, "Oh, great! All right, whatever, Gary. Thank you very much. You have yourself a good day. I'll hopefully see you again another time." But
Mhm.
I failed to say also when I first came in, Tim Smith was right there, and I've met Tim plenty of times, but it's always great to see in Tim's. I said, "Hey, Tim," shook his hand. "How you doing?" Stuff like that, and had a little conversation. And then I got in line, whatever. I'm like, all right, it was great. I saw Charlie. Got to talk to him for a little bit. He helped me out in my video again, and Charlie and I like to consider we're friends, and that's why I call him buddy a lot and whatnot. And same to you. And I was like, I got to meet Gary. I texted my wife how excited I was about meeting
Yeah.
Gary. I was like, icing on cake would be like if I got to meet JD because he was there that day.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So yeah, it had to be awesome.
yeah, JD was doing a panel. I was like, "Oh, that'd be great if I can meet him." So
Yeah.
I'm in line with people, just waiting. And the line's getting closer to Chris Mikowski and Susan Eisenhower and Jeff Shara. And the way the thing was set up is that if I'm looking here, and to my right, you had Chris, Susan, and Jeff in the lobby waiting area that like takes you like to the bathroom and everything. And like there's this big lobby, rectangular lobby, almost like a big hallway, but still. And then right on the other side, like diagonal, it continues a little bit. There's a door. I'm in line and I see the door opening, whatever, and people walking out. I'm just kind of like peeking and peeking. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm like, all right. I'm trying to think of what I'm gonna tell Chris and Susan and Jeff, like, so I don't sound like a
You get
blithering idiot.
nervous and you come out and be like, "Do you like history?" You just start
Yeah,
asking questions like that.
exactly. I didn't want to just be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
why, and just send my book.
yes,
No, I really wanted to be like thoughtful with the
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
I don't know much about Susan Eisenhower. It's a shame I don't, but I was trying to think of something, and out the corner of my eye, as I was thinking, I saw JD. I was like, no. I was like, no, it
It's
can't
like
be
it's a
him.
definitive look. Yeah,
I just looked at him. I was like, and then I waved at him when he looked like towards me, and he waved back, and he started walking my way. And he walked directly to me. He didn't just walk around. He just
yeah,
walked
yeah.
directly to me. He's like, "Hey man, how you doing? You books and battlefields, right?" I was like,
You're like, what?
in my mind, I'm like jumping up and down like a kid, but I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm nice to meet you, JD. Like trying to be not so giddy, but I'm like, and then
Yeah,
next to him was Real History, the gentleman
yeah.
from Real.
Jared Frederick. Yeah.
Yep. So he's like, you know Jared. I'm like, I know of your work, and like him and Jared were together, and I'm like talking to JD, I'm talking to Jared, stuff like that. And as I see the lines getting closer, and I can't necessarily pick up on cues, but I was like, you know what? Let me thank JD. I thanked him again, just like I did Gary. Thank you for being an inspiration for my channel. And he's like, oh no problem, whatever. I was like, all right. I don't want to hold you up. I know your schedule is probably very tight and whatnot. I appreciate you coming over and just saying hi. He's like, yeah, no problem. And then he goes like, oh, by the way, if you want, that's such and such. You want to meet at such and such. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like,
I'll make a
absolutely.
detour.
So like that got me going. I was like, all right, well, I'll see you then, JD. He's like, all
Well,
right,
this
see you then.
explains the photograph, man, because I saw your photograph that you all posted. I was like, what? Like I
Yeah.
saw you in the photo. I know that's where you're getting to. And I was hoping you would bring that up tonight because I
Oh
was so
God.
jealous. I was so grateful for you as your friend, but I was also just jealous. I was like, oh my God. It's like he's in a group full of really amazing influencers and
Yep.
historians and things. What a cool moment for you. But yeah, sorry
Yeah.
to dive
That's
to that.
okay.
But man, I was so glad that you're telling this origin story of how this happened. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
living vicariously through you. So
Yeah,
this
I
is
understand
cool.
the feeling because, because with other friends of mine, I live vicariously through them sometimes. But so I went to Chris. I said, I thanked him for his work. Same I did to Gary. He signed my book. I went to Susan Eisenhower, told her how much, my uncle and I love her grandfather and respect her grandfather. I told her my great grandfather served under her grandfather Ike
Mhm.
in the 90th division and such like that. I had the book signed to my uncle because I was going to be a birthday gift for him because his birthday's this month. And I went to Jeff and I was like, funny enough with you, Jeff, this is the first book I ever got of yours, and it was the Battlefields book. And
Yeah.
he laughed at it. I'm like, I got it at Old Fort Pulaski. And he's like, oh, down in Savannah. I was like, yeah. He's like, that's a precarious place to find it, but great, And he signed the books, and he signed all the ones for second time books. I thanked them all for their time, and then I just had to find somewhere to go till the time was to meet up with JD and all. And then I get there,
Mhm.
and it's funny because I'm like, all right, I've seen everybody. I'm just going to see JD, but in the back of my mind, I've seen those pictures that JD and has posted. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm wondering who's showing up tonight. And I texted Charlie about it too. I was like, hey, JD invited me. He's like, oh, yeah, I was going to invite you, but I didn't know if you were staying the whole night. I was like, I was kind of insinuating it, buddy. But I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But so I get there and the guy tells me, oh, you got to go around the side. I was like, oh, all right. So I walk around the side of it and out comes Gary. I was like, no, Gary's going to be here. That's so cool. He's like, yeah, I'll be right back. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, and he walked off. I was like, so I'm sitting there. I'm talking to the hostess. I'm like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And mind you, I've been
Yeah.
giving out everybody my bookmark to everybody because
Yeah. Okay.
I
Good.
have a
Good. Good.
bookmark
It's a
for
good
my mom.
idea. Yeah.
And my wife's idea was my wife's idea. She was like, hey,
Yeah. That's a great marketing idea. I love it.
yeah. So we were all trading. Like I was giving it already to JD. I was giving it to real Jared. Uh, I was giving it to. I gave it a couple to Charlie because I forgot with
Mhm.
Charlie back in Yorktown because he gave me some history of waffle stuff. And I'm like, crud, I don't have any with me. And then when I put my books in the car, I had the dang
You
bookmarks.
had
I
them.
was like,
Yeah.
no. So I finally got them to Charlie.
Good.
So
Good.
I sat there and I waited. The first person to walk in was JD. And I was like, oh, hey, like we started talking and everything. It was great. And then came through the door, Walk with History. And her husband that worked together. I'm not still familiar enough with them, but like
Mhm.
they were still a great breath of fresh air, being in a room with other history people. Um, and then Gary walked in, stuff like that. And then Chris from Vlogging Through History, Chris Mallory, walked in. And when I saw Chris, I was like, oh, hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm Charles from Books and Battlefields. He goes, oh, I know you. I've heard of you. I was like, Jesus Christ, everybody knows me. I'm like, this is great.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Even though my subscriber count doesn't necessarily show it, but like everybody knows me. This is
You're like, it
awesome.
doesn't matter. It'll happen over time.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. And then we all sat, we got everywhere. And Eric Dorr, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his wife.
Mhm.
And Tim Smith showed up a little later. I first started sitting in between Gary and JD because I gave up my seat down to Spencer at Readout. I was like, all right, you can take that seat. I'll go sit at the next open seat. And the next open seat so happened to have been between Gary and JD. I was sitting there. I'm like, and then they're like, oh, we're still waiting for two other people or three other people. I'm like, all right, well, I'm like, JD, I was like, all right, this and this and that. I'll just give you guys some space. I feel like if I got a burger because I hadn't eaten all day, I didn't want to get in between and just mess them up because I was
Yeah.
at the corner. So I'm like, let me just move on down.
Yeah.
So I sat down down next to Spencer. I had real history in front of me to my side. I met Charlie's wife, and then Charlie, and then Chris, and then we're waiting for Eric to show up. I didn't know Tim was coming, so Eric and his girl sat down right here, and I'm chatting. And I hear a chair slide next to me. I look over. I'm like, "Oh, hey Tim, how you doing? Didn't I just see you a couple hours ago?" He's like, "Yeah, like busy day today, hasn't it been?" He goes, "Yeah, considering everything." So I was like, we
Yeah.
just all got to talking about history, and like
Yeah.
I was firing some history questions, like favorite, battlefields, and like what got them into their
Yeah.
passion and stuff like that. It was a
Sure. Sure.
fun
Yeah.
time, and then laughs were had, just all around good times. And for me, it's just a breath of fresh air because I was telling JD that like and Charlie at different times, like I work in a warehouse where no one there has a passion for history. So it's a really
Mhm.
big history killer mood there. Like it's like sports and movies. That's it where I
Yeah. Yeah.
work. Like, oh, Charles is talking about history again. Oh, there we go. Like, and it's just like,
Yeah.
all right, I've learned to just not talk about it. So when I talk
Yeah.
to you, or when I talk to like even my cousin, and Charlie and all, and Spencer now, it's just a breath of fresh air. But being in a room with all of them,
Yeah. It had to
that
be
was
awesome.
that was like the cherry on top of my night, and that was and uh, everybody there was so nice. Everybody was kind and just all around nice.
Mhm.
If you thought that they were nice on screen, they're just as nice as they
Yeah,
are.
that's what I was just about to ask. That they seem as genuine in person as they seem on their
Yeah,
channels. Because they do. And like I said, I've
yeah,
had
and
Jared on the podcast. I've had JD, and both of them were very genuine. Like recording and not recording, it was the same person you're talking to.
yeah,
And I think I was always pleasantly surprised. And I mean, you even more so because of that night there is how easy it was to talk to them.
yeah,
That's a really cool thing too. It's just such a great room. That whole that room of people that you were with, including you, it's just such a great inspirational, like influencing group of people. That I just think that all have like a really tremendous effect on like the social media space because social media gets such a toxic and rightfully so to an extent, but also I felt like there's these really great communities and outlets of people you can meet that often get overshadowed by all the dramatic and very clickbaity and negative sort of things. So
yeah. But it was a fun night. I got home. I didn't leave around till like 10:30. I didn't get
mhm.
home till 1 in the morning. 'Cause they're like, "Oh, Charles, where do you live?" I'm like, right by Cherry Hill." "Where's that?" Right outside of Philadelphia." That's really what I tell everybody. I'm like, "I'm right outside of Philadelphia." They're like, "Do you drive that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do it all the time pretty much." Like, it's my passion. It's not work, and, this maybe will take off as a job, but right now I'm
Mhm.
just loving it being a hobby. I'm enjoying sharing my passion with everybody and sharing these stories and just all around just enjoying
Mhm.
history. Even if it's battlefields, even if it's like a historic town, which is my passion. I know everybody's got their passions, everybody's got
Sure,
something
yeah.
that they wanna share, and I'm just enjoying sharing my way of sharing my passion. So,
Yeah. I think again, that's what I told you. Me and my twin brother had that conversation about you after you did episode 56 with me. Before
mhm,
he's like, not that any of your other guests weren't, but he's like, there was just something about Charles that he seems like just genuinely excited and compassionate or passionate about what he really like enjoys doing. And I think
yeah,
that's why I think over time, I just think that your overall like approach and your genuine nature is just going to eventually sooner or later take off. But I love that the humility that you have about it because it kind of leads me to my one question I'm going to ask you tonight, because I was looking at our time. Your wife is going to kill me and you because we're almost at the hour mark. I was looking up there. I was like, oh man, she's going to kill us both for being
No,
here.
we're
So,
all
uh,
good.
but I had multiple questions, but I'll kind of just ask you one, 'cause I feel like the way you ended there is a great segue into what I was going to ask you.
Sure.
I can't remember if it was a week or more ago. It might have been a few weeks ago when you did this, and I was so happy for you. But years ago, whenever I was on a sports podcast that was covering Indiana basketball and things with my brother, he had said something to me that always stuck with me. He said, I don't care if it's just one person watching my videos or there could be 100 people watching my videos. I'm always going to try to remind myself to be grateful, because that's one human being that invested their time. I mean, think of all the time that we have in our life that's busy, that we need to do things with our family and things that are meaningful stuff with work. And I think it's a big deal that anybody that sits down and watches your video or listens to my podcast or video, I think that's a huge deal. And I think that I got the impression from you when I first met you that also means a lot to you. And that being said, here's my question. It's a long detour route to my question, but recently you posted how grateful you were that one of your videos finally hit 1,000. It was your first of your videos since you started your channel that actually hit 1,000. And I don't want to overlook how big of a deal that is, because someday when you may have a million or so on there
Yeah.
too, I don't think that you're going to look back and overlook and laugh at that as like that being a bad thing. So I have to ask you now, as someone that I know you generally take all your subscribers and viewers, and as you know, non-subscribers, there's plenty of people that watch your videos, as many YouTubers know, that don't subscribe to your videos. So anybody that watches your videos, I know it's very important to you. But I just want to ask you overall, what's it feel like for one of your videos to hit 1,000? How does that affected your I guess your insight into how every viewer to you means a lot as far as being able to share your passion of history with?
Well, for starters, I'd have to say I'm very grateful and thankful. As you said, people take time out of their lives to view a video, and sometimes they can be lengthy. Uh, the video in question that reached 1,000 views was my Battle of uh, Crosswick's meeting house, and it was a skirmish for the most part, statistically. But in New Jersey, a lot of things are called battles, and I'm going to stick to that because I'm from New
Mm.
Jersey. Um, especially if there are casualties,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
good amount of casualties at least. I don't take anything lightly with that, but it shows that people even had a passion or an interest, at least, in a forgotten battle, because no one really reads about or knows about Crosswicks or anything leading up to Monmouth. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm humbled, and I am grateful and thankful to those who took time out of their day to watch that video. And I'm honestly grateful and thankful that they take time out of their day to watch any of my videos. That just shows to me that they they too love history. No matter what the story is, no matter what uh, they're necessarily um, wanting to learn, or they're looking to learn more about history. Because it could have been a suggested video, or they were searching for it. That's how the algorithm works in YouTube.
Mhm.
You know, I've learned that almost pretty much 2 years into doing this. Um, I know my first video I did is a good example of what not to do. And I've learned from Charlie that he even keeps up his first videos because it shows how we've grown as channels, um, and what we've done to improve the channel. The viewership shows that there is something interesting out there that people love to watch. And even one view to 1,000 views to
Mhm.
tens of thousands of views to even millions of views, I don't think that mindset's going to change for me. I think I'm just going to be happy where I'm at, and I'm only happy knowing that many people, be it 1 to a million or 6 billion, 7 billion
Mhm.
people, however many views it gets, that people are interested in history. I I'm slowly understanding just how popular sometimes um, that social media stuff can happen. Because I remember last week my Twitter X blew up a lot for a couple reasons. I'm like, wow, I've never been this popular before. But like, it's also humbling because, as I said, just a lot of people enjoy it, and
Mhm.
I'm glad I have my own niche too. Everybody has their niche. My niche is books. So sharing the books, sharing their story out of the books, sharing my own interpretation on that, and there are people out there enjoying it. And 1,000 views is a testament to me, um, and a testament to them. Uh, it's just offer my subscribers, offer my future subscribers, offer my future viewers. Uh, I am truly grateful for it. Um, I can't wait to see what video next hits 1,000. You know, I knew for a while maybe eventually that video would have hit 1,000. It skyrocketed. I was like, I was telling my wife, I looked at the numbers. I'm like, all right, it's at 300, and then it was at 400, and then it was at 500, and then it was at 600. I'm like, wow, this video is really gaining ground. And it started peaking around like 9. I saw. I'm like, okay, it's slowed at like 970. So I'm like, all right. So I kept eyeing it. And then slowly I saw it hit 980 and then 990. I was just anticipating it by then. I'm like,
Mhm.
eventually it's going to happen that someone's going to click on that for it and it'll be the 1,000th video.
Yeah.
And I was patient. I'm patient with them all. Uh, I know for some YouTubers, a video can just pop up overnight. So the more I put out there, the more lines I have cast, which means it just more people will take to them and enjoy them. It's just out
Mhm.
there for people to have more knowledge is better than not having any knowledge, and that's
Yeah.
just sharing a story. And for 1,000 people or 1,000 viewers to see that, it's humbling. So, and I'm grateful for it. It just shows that what I'm doing is special for 1,001 views, and even as I said, the video that hits 1 view or 30 views, stuff like that. I'm never disappointed. I am never disappointed because regardless of how low or high the video is, I still have at that point in time the experience, my own
Mhm.
knowledge, and if I'm away, I spent it with family. So the viewers are just a bonus in my life, more or less. It's all bonus. Everything's a bonus. Um, and more or less, it wouldn't be possible without my family, my wife, and my daughter,
Mhm.
because a lot of it entails them too. They're a part of this, but um, all a lot behind the scenes. So it's a
Yeah, and
family.
Charles, to give you all even more credit, you brought that up earlier in the episode, is like how important it is. And I didn't know that about you from your videos. A lot of them, like I just see like you vlogging everything, and but the fact that your family willingly wants to be with you, you include them in this process as well too. It's got to be even better about sharing your passion with people when you know you also have your family behind you as well too. It's got to be powerful. Something that you said earlier. I wrote this down because even though you didn't say these words, I really get the feeling that you'll never be disappointed because I think you're incentivized by something that's stronger than just like engagement and algorithm and numbers, and that's your passion. Because no matter what, every time you're doing these battlefield vlogs, you're learning something new about yourself. You're getting more experience. And for the 1,000 people that watch that video or more that will come, you're giving them more value of that topic than they didn't know before that when they watched the video. So for me, you're adding more value. I would like to think that me and you and the others we're trying to add our own incremental, marginal value to the universe in some way or another. And I love the niche that you have because I like the combination of the books and battlefields part because you do a great job. Because again, you're not trying to like do exactly what other people are doing. Like you said, there are several really good battlefield vloggers and other people that are out there. You found a way to add your own niche to it and kind of connect it. And for people like me that love the book aspect, and I love any time somebody could grab a topic like Gettysburg that I'm very passionate about. If you can recommend a series of books for me to get with that, I'm going to hop on that. For one thing, as I'm friends with you, and I'm going to trust your instinct that you're not going to give me a garbage book to go read. Secondly, my childhood, my memory of my father, that's all tied to when I was 11 years old and going to Gettysburg. It's an emotional thing for me as well, too. Hell, even just 2 days ago, Letha didn't know, my wife, how big of a deal it was for me for her to order Shelby Foote's like series, his Civil War volumes. I've always wanted those, and I love him in the documentaries. You got to love the classic. I've always wanted to do that with you. Someday I'm hoping to do a series where me and you go through each of the episodes of the original Ken Burns Civil War documentary. I would love to do like almost like an aftermath, like episode discussion after each one. I think that's such a classic. I think that was 1990. I think it's whenever that came out. It was 1990, 93-ish, somewhere around in there. But man, it's such a classic one to have. But yeah, for me, again, I'm just extremely happy for you and proud of you too. I sound like I'm proud, like a dad. I'm not saying it like that, but you definitely have. Yeah, exactly. It's more like a brother. Like I definitely think I've gained a lot of perspective from you and appreciation, and this is why I hope to have you back more and more often. And I know, you brought this up earlier in the show, is that I think this is whenever I hit record. I can't remember if this is before I recorded or not. Is that I've had a terrible round of health since January. Like I've had the worst health I've had in my entire life. I think I was sick for like 2 months straight. So it's more about. I think you would agree with this too. You do something very well, and so does Charlie Watts and all the other guys in Walking with History. Is that all of you are consistent, and it's something that JD told me on an episode with me too, is that it may take years and stuff to get to a point of where you would like your channel to be at, but it's very important to be consistent. Like at least have a once a week thing, once every 2 weeks, have kind of a systematic thing. And for me, the first 2 years, I've been going for 2 years too, mine's just been so inconsistent as well too. And mine started more of a teaching focus and has been, and now I can get much more into the my interest areas and things I've always wanted to go into. Maybe a little bit more of the vlogging. So I'm going to take some advice from you and others on like some local vlogging I'm going to do here locally in Logan County, Kentucky. A lot of history here nearby, a lot of unusual history and stuff to look at too. But anyway, man, I'm going to wrap this up now because I know we're just a little over the hour mark. I do want my listeners and the viewers on the YouTube channel to know I do plan on having Charles North VI back on very soon, as in this week. Hopefully, and we're going to have a long episode over my series on why primary sources are so damn good. And again, I can have your perspective, Charles, as someone who loves to read books. Like you love secondary sources, but as you know, a lot of your secondary sources are packed full of primary source references in them. It's kind of like that M&M with the peanut in it on there too. So we can have an argument over, should we just call them original sources rather than classifying secondary or primary? But for me, it's not just as a teacher, but it's as a podcaster, as a YouTuber, trying to get more of an appreciation, not just on learning why primary sources are obviously good, but how can I use them in a way that benefits me individually, the viewers, and my students? I really feel like, Charles, you're going to help me by just sharing your passion on what kind of things have helped with you. But other than that, man, I just want to know, how do you feel going into that episode? You don't have to obviously answer that question yet. How did you feel joining me for Trapped in History again for our second episode together?
I loved it. I would love that as well. And coming back on and sharing the sources. I have pretty much have them all gathered together.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, I said it's only just a couple of days from now. we'll be able to just talk
I
about
do
that.
have one I'm quite biased about, just a heads up, but
That's
um,
okay. Hey,
it's
there's no better time to be biased than when we're talking about primary sources, which are almost always biased. So
yeah,
it's cool, but you and I
away
could
from
kind of
it.
talk about the ethics or the whatever the credibility of how does it affect a source that is biased. For me as the teacher, I love the ones that are biased or even intrinsically that way because it could be a really interesting test on students to kind of pick that up and then why would they be that way. It's a really good one for contextualization and all these other kind of things. But I'm just really grateful for you. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I was saying I was going to say I'm biased towards it. That's why, not it being a
Again,
biased
no,
primary.
no, it's okay.
Even though I think
Again, I assume
one of
this
the
is something
primary
you're in
sources is
favor of
biased.
too, right? The thing you're going to share is something you're biased in favor of, like just
Yeah,
something you really enjoy. Good, good.
yeah, and
And
it's not long at all. It's a couple pages.
oh, that's okay, man. And like I said, anything that you want me to share, obviously you did this last time too. Anything you want to hold up to the camera and show, you can. Just like your incredible cell phone photo tonight, you can
Yeah,
also share with me anything digitally that you want to show off. You get the new one now. Some
yeah,
more
but you can still
HD
see
kind of.
it's cracked, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
you
more
can. Yeah,
improvement.
yeah.
But I
Oh
got it
man.
that way. So
Yeah, yeah, it's okay, man. Well, like I said, that it's all part of the allure, of the experience. It's just like your hat flying off. Don't get rid of that footage, man. It just adds to the genuine nature of the
a
experience. It's part of the charm,
little
right?
bit of comedy too.
Yeah, yeah. You got to have a little bit of the. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. I think
Yeah,
JD told me about that too when he was doing that. But and again, I even hope to have you on in the future if I could ever do like a roundtable discussion with people. It's another thing I like about StreamYard and these kind of things. Again, I'm not sponsored by it or nothing. It's just that we don't have to necessarily drive to each other. You're way over in New Jersey and I'm in Southern Kentucky, so it's not
yeah,
just like driving over to the other side of the town. But it is one of those days where I'm doing all this also with the hope that one of these days, me and you could meet in Gettysburg or meet at one of these battlefields, or if my wife and I travel up to the Northeast, and I get an honorable opportunity to meet you in person and collaborate with you, hopefully at some point too. And you can give me a lot of pointers on how I could be better at vlogging and the other things too, because I'm more comfortable with the podcasting part. The vlogging part would be very new to me, so expect me to be annoying you with text messages over the next few months, just asking me for any kind of help,
trust
critiquing
me,
videos that I do, all that kind of stuff.
you could never annoy me. So
Well, something I've learned about you is
especially
that you like all history right now. I've been texting you about the Iran War, our
yeah,
podcast, all kinds of random topics.
yeah,
And I like how you're just kind of game for time. But then again, if your work environment's like that, you probably are starving for just more people to talk to, just about any
yeah,
history. At this
yeah,
point, it doesn't even have to be something I'm interested in. Just talk about that and kind of get to it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
Charles, just to kind of let you be, any last words you want to say to the audience for this particular episode, which is really just to focus on what has your journey been since October 28th? And you gave us a really great walkthrough, especially on the part about the Gettysburg experience. I just don't even see how it's possible that you did that in a day. Like I
Oh,
sat here and
it's
wrote down in my notes. I was like, how do you even like if I went there, I would have to spend multiple days because I think I would just panic. I would have like I don't know. Like I don't know how I could even make progress, like trying to get it all.
I,
But you somehow found a way to get it done meaningfully
it,
and have all these great experiences in that day.
yeah, that literally I went with the mindset of don't do anything but and the good
But
thing
that,
is
yeah,
about it is that
good idea.
I've been there so many times before that it was like not necessarily going into my workplace. It was just going into something I'm familiar with. So I was like, okay, I know about this, I know about that, I know
Yeah,
about where I
yeah,
am, I know about whatever, so I can tell this part of the story without any, not necessarily an aid, but to help bring me to the story. So
yeah,
and I just sat there. I'm like, okay, I have this to go to, and I looked at my
yeah.
phone. I'm like, I'm running out of time. Let me let me get to it. And I took my time at the same time while rushing because like I wanted to make sure I got it all right. And
Hmm.
with some of the battles, as I said, it was with some of the regiments, I learned of them or what they did there, and most of the stuff is that the book. I did it at every monument I could. The only thing I think I missed was an artillery and the cavalry. So over in East Cavalry Field or something of the sort. I got all the ones that had saw action at Gettysburg. So that's what I handled. That's what I did, and I pretty much just called it a day there. And just like when I'm focused on something, I just focus on it. I have tunnel vision. So if I'm doing anything else, it's like not necessary. I was like, sorry, I'll get to it later. So, but since I've been there,
it's good, Charles. You had that comfort level there. I forgot that you've been there many times, and you already had that comfort level coming in, which had to help. I don't. I mean, hopefully someday I'll be able to meet you over there, and you're gonna have to kind of give me a tour yourself. I'm gonna have to start from square one because I cannot remember a lot from when I was 11. But now that I appreciate it so much more, I think I can approach any kind of journey I can there. I would love to get to the point where I can almost afford to do that annually or every other year. It'd be cool because there are guys like JD and them that I think try to do the Gettysburg Film Festival almost every year. I think that's very impressive. And but anyway, I'll cut this off now. But Charles, I'm going to be looking forward to having you back in a couple of days, and we'll dive into some more philosophical conversation again, like we did on our previous episode that we have done. And as always, for all of our listeners, thank you for joining us for episode 73. I hope that you all take care and continue to be contagious. Have a good night.
Thank you for having me.